all right, guys. Let's get into this thing, man. Let's get into it. Guys. I'm gonna wait a second, man, and give you guys a chance to get up in here. Of course, it's not exactly Tuesday yet, but it's the reason why I'm doing this tonight. And yeah, so we could do this live, man. I want to definitely be able to interact with you guys. So let me just wait a few moments, man. Get some of you guys up in here, then we'll get it cracking. There's a lot to talk about. So yeah, I'm gonna wait a few minutes, say what's up to a couple of you guys, and then we'll get it cracking. So what's up to everybody who's already in here? I see we already got about 19 people already watching, so that's good. So we're gonna go ahead and get this started. Now, guys, the reason why I'm doing this tonight, man, is because I won't be able to do it live tomorrow at the normal time. My schedule is crazy this week. I actually have to go in the office on Friday, but even tomorrow, because of some things I got going on in the evening, I wouldn't be able to do it live. So I figured I'd do it tonight, man. It's about, 51 minutes away from midnight, which is technically Tuesday. So I figured I'd just do it now because I did not want to not do this one live because I want to get you guys interactions. And we're just going to sit here, man, however long it takes, man. I'm not even going to put a time frame on this one. So what's up, people? What's up, Tony and everybody else in here, man? Let's do it. So, as you can see in the title, should Mike Tomlin be fired? And I'm going to address all of that. I'm going to address quite a few things. And we're going to start with specific areas, and then we'll work ourselves down. So let's start at the top, okay? We're going to start at the top, and we're going to talk about coaching, okay? Now, here's the thing about coaching. Coaches are there to make decisions. We're not always going to agree with their decisions, and as fans, we have the right to critique their decisions. They're coaches. They're in that position. If you're the top man, if you're the coordinator, if you're the position coach, et cetera, you have to be held responsible for certain things that happen, all right? Now, in terms of the coaching, I'm going to address a couple things in terms of where I didn't agree with the coaching, even on Mike Tomlin's behalf, all right? And then I'll definitely answer my own question there, whether or not I think he should be fired, et cetera. Let's talk about coaching, all right? Couple things that I noticed right off the bat in the game. Before we even get to Tomlin, let's start with the defensive coordinator. Now, I got to give it to Jacksonville, man. What did I say? What did I tell you guys on Terrible Towel Tuesday last week? Did I not say the Steelers need to stop the run and make Blake Bortles beat you with his arm? If they can stop the run, if they can contain the Jacksonville Jaguars run, and the run is no longer a threat, and you force Blake Bortles to beat you with his arm, I think the Steelers are able to win that game. Never in a million years would anyone have imagined that the Jaguars were going to put up 45 points. No way you get me to believe that. So here's the coaching. You got to give Jacksonville huge credit. You know what they did? They came out on that first drive, right? And they caught us by surprise. Obviously, we were selling out on the run, as we all saw, and they were coming out play action. Bam, 3 play action passes right in a row. When blown assignments in the secondary, it was so many blown assignments, tight ends being unaccounted for. It's ridiculous. But you got to give Jacksonville their credit. They did that, right? Score a touchdown. They come right back. When they get the ball back again, now they running the ball. And we can't stop the run. I mean, Leonard Fournette abusing the linebackers. I mean, Sean Spence, God bless him, man. But it's a reason why he wasn't playing on that team anymore. It's a reason why the coach didn't have him on their team. The reason why he was inactive when we got him. I understand why we got him in a crunch situation, but obviously he's not the guy. Vince Williams also didn't really do what he was supposed to in terms of, you know what I'm saying. It was just a tough outing. We didn't control the line of scrimmage. Let's not forget that. I don't know what happened to Cam Hayward. Stephon Tuitt, Javon Hargrave. I did see LT Walton out there quite a bit as well. Guys, the Jaguars basically outplayed us in terms of the trenches and being able to run the ball enough to make us still honor it, and then they hit you over the top with a play action. That's all they did. And then, of course, their defense showed up, but we're going to talk about that as well, because this is the reason. See the shirt I'm wearing here? Steelers 7. We're going to get to that in a moment. We're going to talk about Big Ben Roethlisberger. Now, let me get back to the coaching real quick, because I got sidetracked. You got to make some adjustments, man. You have to make some adjustments. Obviously, the Jacksonville Jaguars is playing the cat and mouse game with you. And y'all know I'm the main guy that's saying, coaches coach, players execute. I still believe that, but you have to place some blame on these coaches. And I'm going to give a shout out to my father-in-law, Leonard. He's always telling me, Butler has to go and Haley has to go and all these other guys. And, I generally try to say, well, you can't always just throw guys in the trash like that. But again, I'm coming back off of that, and I'm starting to realize, guys, maybe I'm late to the party. I'm a man. I can admit that. But you definitely have to hold these guys accountable for how their team performs, whether guys execute or not, because a lot of it is on the players. I even heard Cam Hayward say himself, hey, the coaches call plays. We got to make plays. I agree with that, but you got to hold somebody responsible. Make some changes, because if you look at some of the alignment we came out with, we were clearly selling out on the run, and we just wasn't prepared to defend the play action. I just don't understand that. Blake Bortles still had a very pedestrian day. If you look at his numbers, 14 for 26, 214 yards and 1 touchdown. That's a very average outing. But he did enough. Give him his credit. He did enough. He managed the game. There you have it. All right, so we already know. Defensive coordinator. I don't know how I'm feeling about Keith Butler right now, but I'm going to get into all that here in a minute when we start talking about the firing and such. Here's another coaching situation. 4th and 1s. On those 4th and 1 downs, why did we run a toss sweep with Le'Veon Bell, who is his running style, a wait and see type of guy. He's not just going to hit it, and I don't knock him for that. I love the way he runs. But you might not necessarily want to run a toss sweep on a 4th and 1 with him and against a Jacksonville Jaguars defense that has speed. They blew it up. Now, I heard Tomlin's explanation, and listen, like I said, guys, coaches make their decisions and they get paid to do that. Let's be real for a second. Every single coach in the NFL has made a bad call. We've all seen it. I recall one time, and I don't remember what year it was or who they was playing, but I remember few years back, Belichick went for it on a 4th and 2 against somebody. Might have been Seattle or somebody like that on their own side of the field, and they didn't get it. Everybody makes bad decisions, but that's why they're in that position. We're not always going to agree. So I look at coaches and I can critique their decision. It doesn't necessarily mean I want a certain guy fired. Like, a guy has to show an extensive track record for me to say, okay, he can't get the job done. All right, but hold that thought. We'll get back to the firing. So you call a toss sweep on 4th and 1. Gets blown up. We get in that position again. And then Ben Roethlisberger, we're throwing the ball when it was less than 4th and 1. Where's quarterback sneak? We haven't seen Ben Roethlisberger do a sneak in at least 9 years or so. Because I remember he got hurt against Washington about 8-9 years ago. But if you look at the percentage of quarterbacks that get injured in the NFL on a quarterback sneak, it is really not that high. What are we afraid of? Sneak it. Stop getting cute. Stop trying to overthink it, Todd Haley. Run the ball up the middle. I'd rather have mano a mano, man on man. Who's going to win this battle? Let it rip. If they stop you, they stop you. We got Rosie Nix on the sideline, a guy that is known for his blocking. He's not even in the game during these situations. I don't understand it. Now, of course, if Ben converts the pass, maybe we're saying, oh, good job. But I still don't like the call. Go with high percentage plays during that situation? Why do we consistently overthink, the simple stuff here? Those 2 4th-and-1s were critical. You keep the ball, you keep the drive going, maybe you score some points, maybe touchdown, but more than likely a field goal could have been huge in this game. I don't understand that. Now let's go to the top man. As much as I like Tomlin as a coach, and I still like Tomlin as a coach, let's make that clear. I did not agree with the decision of kicking the onside kick at the time that he did it. I did not agree with that. It's 2 minutes and 18 seconds left. You have 2 timeouts in your pocket and the 2-minute warning. You kick that ball deep, or at least kick it off deep enough to where a guy gets a return, he's still going to get tackled before 18 seconds. That's essentially 3 timeouts. That's the conventional way to go. That's what I would have done. Now, if anyone wants to defend Tomlin and what he said after the game, I guess I would agree with him. He said, hey, we weren't stopping them. He didn't, in so many words, he said he didn't trust the defense. So he felt like we need to get the ball back. The only problem in that situation is when you kick it like that, it's a double-edged sword, because if we can't stop them way down the field, the chances of us stopping them with a shorter field is even greater, greater against us. And they're right in field goal position. To add insult to injury, the onside kick hits Tyler Medikevich, and we get a legal touching. So you move the ball even closer. And then even when we had him in position to where it would have been perhaps a long field goal attempt, we still allowed him to get yards. Coaching, guys, from the defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, and Mike Tomlin was all very bad, in my opinion, in key situations. If I had to grade the way they coached in that game, I might have to give them an F. Now, let me play devil's advocate. Can I put all of this on Todd Haley? No. Did the Steelers lose the game because of the 4th downs and the non-conversions of those 4th downs? No. Because let's not forget, twice in that game on 4th down, we scored a touchdown. We scored a touchdown on a deep ball twice. 4th and long. So if I'm not mistaken, I'm just trying to do, math off the top of the head. Didn't look at the stats, but I think we were 2 for 2. 2 for 4. So we got 2 and, we didn't get 2. So we basically 50%. However, I still go back and look at the situation, and I cannot say that the Steelers lost the game because of that, okay? I will go back again and say the Steelers did not lose the game because of the onside kick at 2:18. There's no guarantee that we're going to score if we get the ball back or if we stop them. One would think maybe we have a chance because we're hot. The offense seemed like they were able to do what they wanted to do, but there's no guarantee. We lost that football game because our defense failed us. Like I said, weeks and weeks and weeks ago, I said it just last week. Remember, guys, when I told y'all 2 consecutive weeks in a row, I said, I don't think we win the Super Bowl this year, guys. I don't trust our defense to get off the field during key situations. And if I'm not mistaken, just kind of recalling it in my head, I think the Jags was like 8 for 14 on 3rd down. There were numerous 3rd down situations that were key, and we couldn't get off the field. That's why we lost the game. The offense produced 42 points against that defense. That, if I'm not mistaken, they're the number 1 defense. I think they're number 1 against points, and I'm pretty sure they're very high against the pass. They're probably number 1. They were number 2 in sacks behind the Pittsburgh Steelers, which we didn't get any in that game. Guys, we lost the game because our defense failed us. That's why we lost. Tomlin's onside kick situation is not the reason why the Steelers lost, nor were the 4th and 1 unconverted 4th and 1s. But you have to look at the coaching in those scenarios and say, my God, what is going on? Now, should Mike Tomlin be fired? No. Absolutely not. Look at his track record as far as what he's done since he's been in Pittsburgh. Has not had a losing season yet. Won 13 games this season. Went to the AFC Championship last season. Has gone to 2 Super Bowls. Won a Super Bowl, which I know people are going to say, oh, that was Cowher's team. Okay, I give you that. Kinda, it was basically Cowher's formula. I give you that. It's fair to say that. But how many Super Bowls did Cowher win with that team? So the argument kind of goes out the window when you look at it from that standpoint. All I'm saying is, I think that Mike Tomlin is a great coach. Now, here's the comma but. Is he excellent with time management? No, not always, in my opinion. Does he always make the best decision in key situations? Sometimes no. Could we, by chance, have someone else on the staff that can be there to help him along? Like, hey, wait, maybe we should kick it off, Mike. I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to having someone else there or someone else on the staff that has that the cachet, like Stephen A would say. I stole that word. But someone else that would have the cachet to be like, look, let's think this out. Now, I know Tomlin believes heavily in allowing his coaches to coach, and he does have his fingerprints on everything. He does override things. So, again, we could all question in some situations, maybe he doesn't make the best decision. We also, real Steelers fans, can agree that there's been other times that he's done phenomenal stuff. Think about it in San Diego a couple years back, going for it in that situation and Le'Veon Bell scores. I didn't hear anybody complain then. So what I'm saying is, with coaches, they are who they are, guys. We're not always going to agree. And we all, including me, we are all questioning the decision-making and the preparedness from an execution standpoint in this past game. Do I believe in the whole theory of, oh, Tomlin didn't have his team ready to play. Oh, they were looking ahead. No. Because even if you are looking ahead to the Patriots, guess what? When you're on that field, you better be looking at who in front of you. So I don't believe in that theory. I just don't. That's just me. I don't believe in that. However, the game plan just didn't seem to be working, Keith Butler. Maybe it's time for some different type of implementation. I know Tomlin has his fingerprints on the defense, but it's still not fully, where his background is. He's more of the cover 2, Tampa 2 type of guy. And we've implemented some cover 2, but you know what I'm saying? Maybe it might be time for us to, figure out some different game plans, some different schemes, some different ways of getting pressure. However, we have done made some changes, but we need some tweaks and we need some more personnel. Let's just keep it real. We need some better personnel in key positions, and I think we'll be okay. Because it's kind of a bittersweet. You look at it, the Steelers led the league in sacks. So you look at the defense and you're like, So they did that, but they're unable to get the job done. And what I mean, guys, is you look at the game last night, man. Last night, because I forgot it's still Monday. You look at the game between the Saints and the Vikings. Now, that Vikings defense is awesome. But, hey, the Saints scored on them also. The Jacksonville Jaguars defense is awesome. But we lit them up and deep. So, defenses are going to get scored on, but a team like Jacksonville or a team like the Vikings, those defenses show up in key moments. That's the difference. And yes, we have a superior offense. And that's why, and I'm not being biased, but that's why you can't always judge, it's not a fair judgment sometimes to say, well, look what Pittsburgh did to them. We're supposed to with all of that firepower. Supposed to. But listen, even in that game, right? Even when we beat them, guys was in position. let's call this what it is, okay? I love him dearly. One of the best I've ever seen, and I'll even go as far as saying he might be the best overall receiver that I have ever seen with my eyes watching. That's arguable, but I'm willing to say that Antonio Brown might be one of the best, if not the best, total package receivers that I've ever seen in my lifetime. You know, Jerry Rice and those guys were phenomenal, but I'm talking about everything that Antonio Brown can do. But let's be honest, AB gets away with a push-off. It's a little veteran move. And even on that deep shot, the first one to him, a little push-off on Bouye. But the kid was right there. The Telvin Smith on the Le'Veon Bell pass. A phenomenal catch by Bell in the end zone. Smith is right there. You see what I'm saying? I just want guys to be in position. And if they get beat, you know, a better offense is always going to beat great defense. It just is what it is. You can't defend a perfect pass. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool with that. But our guys don't even be in position. Look at the play Miles Jack made on that interception. I just want to see that. Can we get that kind of defense back in the Steel City? If we had that kind of defense, there's no question in my mind that the Steelers could roll through the Super Bowl and win it. Because that offense can't be stopped. Think about it. We gave New England a run for their money. And without even getting into all the technicalities, come on. We all saw that game and we saw, yeah, we can play with them. We can beat them. Right? But what did we see in that game? When it was the key situation, Tom Brady said, hey, Gronk, you already know. And they went right down the field. Okay? Joe Flacco and the Baltimore Ravens offense, no disrespect to them, put up 38 points against the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. Okay? Jacoby Brissett threw for over 300 yards against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay? Brett Huntley threw for over 300 yards against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay? Matthew Stafford, which is a phenomenal quarterback when he's on, threw for over 400 yards. Okay? The Chicago Bears ran for about 200 yards. Leonard Fournette, the first time, ran for 181 yards, which we know technicalities there, but he was still about 25 for 90 or so before the long 91-yard run. Again, when it's time to make a stop, we still can't. You see the theme here? Y'all remember me saying this, right? Our defense has not been good all season. We had a stretch. We had a stretch where we were the number one pass defense and they were doing okay. But I know a lot of you guys even said it in the comments. Hey, it could be just because teams are running the ball on us. You're right. Maybe that was it. My point is, the Pittsburgh Steelers, until we get that defense, they don't even have to be shut down, man, with the offense we have. All they have to do is be able to make stops when the time is necessary. That's all I ask. That's the difference between the Steelers and New England right now, folks. New England doesn't have the best defense in the world, but they are disciplined. That scheme works, and they make plays when they need to make plays. It's just that simple. If we had that, even if we were the bend but don't break defense again, we might go to the Super Bowl, might win it, but we're not that. All right, guys. So I've ranted I went on a rant there for quite a bit. Oh man, let's talk about some other things here. Ryan Shazier, man, sorely missed. Now, yes, teams ran the ball against us when Shazier was in there, but we all know when Shazier's out there, he's a difference maker. Whether he makes the play or not, teams have to account for him. Teams don't run right at Ryan Shazier. Ryan Shazier sometimes guesses the wrong, the hole. He shoots the wrong gap. But when he's right, he's right. And when he's right, a lot of times it's a tackle for loss. I heard a stat today. Shout outs to Dave Bryant from SteelersDepot.com. Dave said, I don't think the Steelers had a tackle for loss in this game against the Jags. Not one. Nor did we have any sacks. The number one sack team in the league had 0 sacks against an offensive line that's in Blake Bortles. Bruh, I don't know. Like I said, where were our superstars yesterday? We ain't hear much from Cam Hayward. We ain't hear nothing from Stephon Tuitt. We ain't hear nothing from Javon Hargrave. The line of scrimmage, we lost that battle, clearly. And when Leonard Fournette put body to body, it was embarrassing. I mean, Sean Spence, man, it was embarrassing what he was able to do to that guy. Now, granted, Leonard Fournette is a big boy. It's just like what we say about Le'Veon Bell. A lot of times, Le'Veon Bell gets somebody one-on-one, it's a wrap. Ask, Drake Kirkpatrick. Ask him. He'll tell you. I get it. But come on, man. We got to do better than that. How many times did we see Fournette just continue to move the pile after contact? Again, not being biased here because Le'Veon Bell does it too, but I'm just saying. Rally to the ball. Oh, my God. It was just crazy, man. But what else can we talk about here, guys? Because I'm here, man. I ain't going nowhere until I get tired. That's why I did this tonight. Let's see. There were some good plays made by Artie Burns yesterday. I don't know if you guys noticed that. He made about 3 pass breakups. I was, pretty happy about what Artie was able to do, even though, he got beat on the deep shot. He was there. It's just, the guy makes the catch, combat catch. But he made some good plays, and he made some plays on 3rd down. However, no disrespect to Blake Bortles, but it was Blake Bortles throwing the ball. Now, was the ball on target? Did the ball come out late? Because a lot of them times when they showed the replay, it was man coverage, and you saw Artie was able to get in position and knock it down. Give him credit, but I'm just saying, was it the great defense, or was it more so Blake Bortles just not, delivering the perfect ball? But either way, I give him his credit. Joe Hayden played relatively well. And here's another sad statistic, guys. Do y'all remember how many times y'all saw Joe Hayden making tackles at the line of scrimmage? Where was the linebackers? Lord have mercy. So, let me see. So, obviously, I see some people in here. It never fails, man. It never fails. If you're not involved with the Steelers fan base, why are you even here? But anyway, let's not address that. They love us. They just want to come around. I appreciate you for your view. What else can we talk about, guys, before I start looking at some of what you guys are saying? Again, the reason why I have this shirt on, Steelers, number 7. Let me tell y'all something, man. And if I knew him personally, I would personally apologize to Big Ben Roethlisberger. Y'all remember how critical I was of Ben through the first, let's say, 7 games or so? He didn't look like himself. We all said it, but I was really critical on him. I was saying things like, man, he ain't got it no more. Even the games we were winning barely, I was like, Ben ain't got it. Let me tell y'all something. Ben Roethlisberger, had we won that game, and again, Dave said this on the Terrible Podcast today. Had we won that game, we may have been talking about one of the top 5, if not one of the best performances. A gritty and gutsy performance by Ben Roethlisberger. Throws a bad interception early. Yeah, it could have been a better throw. But guys, Ben balled out of control. What was it? 467 yards, 5 touchdowns, which, the last one was garbage time, but still, he drove him down the field. Martavis had a touchdown. Antonio, Juju, Le'Veon, Ben. Oh, Vance McDonald, guys. We saw a little glimpse of what Vance McDonald can be. 10 catches for $112. Ben Roethlisberger was balling. What about the play, man, when he had the presence of mind to throw it backwards to Le'Veon Bell on his second touchdown? Ben was balling. And listen, thank you, Ben Roethlisberger, for saying that you're going to come back now instead of that whole drama that you went through last year. Because I think now Ben is probably going to stay next year and the year after, finish out the contract, and then he walks. Because think about it. When's the last time we seen Ben Roethlisberger play 16 games? He did it. He did it this year. Very surprising. Didn't get hurt. Offensive line protected him, which he gave him some very read between the line type of material I heard in his press conference. If you really pay attention to what he said, he really talked about his guys and saying how all of these guys are going to be together. It makes me wonder what's going to happen with Todd Haley and some other people. But that Ben balled, man. Ben didn't lose the game. Your offense puts up 42 points against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Think about that. If you would have heard, you wouldn't have watched the game, and somebody told you that Roethlisberger threw for 5 touchdowns, Antonio Brown is over 100 yards. Le'Veon Bell has 2 receiving touchdowns. Vance McDonald caught 10 catches for 112 yards. Ben Roethlisberger throws for 467 yards. Would you think they lost the game? What else did I say that we couldn't do, guys? Y'all remember? Turn over the ball. Both the interception and the strip fumble, which was a scoop and score, resulted in 14 points. Once again. That's why they lost. Turnovers and no defense. Exactly what I was afraid of. You don't stop the run. You turn over the ball. Against the Jags, you're going to lose. You have the chance to lose. And that's what happened. It's just that simple. That's why I say we got to be careful about blaming Todd Haley for this game. Because even with the calls that we all didn't like, they still scored 42 points. If your defense eliminates a few of those drives and it takes one of those touchdowns off the board, the Steelers win the game. The defense is the reason why they lost. Again, it was not the onside kick at 2 minutes and 18 seconds, nor was it the 4th and 1s that we didn't convert. It was the Steelers defense giving up those points, which was basically 38? Because one of them was a scoop and score. So there you have it. Now, as far as who should be gone, Todd Haley, I think it's time for him to go. I mean, 6 years in the organization, offensive coordinators don't stay around that long. I believe that there's a rift between him and Ben of some sort. The rumor's been there, and most of the time, guys, where there's smoke, there's fire. We got to get rid of Todd Haley. Not necessarily because of just this game, but a cumulative of times that we've seen since he's been there that he just doesn't seem to utilize the weapons the way he could. It just seems that way to me. Now, listen, I'm not a coach. I don't design schemes. I'm just saying, when you got those type of weapons, you should be producing way more than what you are. That's just my thought. Okay? Here's a couple other things. Mike Mitchell. It's time, man. It's time for Mike Mitchell to go. And excuse me, guys, for a moment. This guy, this person here that keeps putting these crying faces or whatever. Chill with all that, or I'm gonna block you, because we don't need to see all of this nonsense. Okay. Now, Mike Mitchell got to go, man. We've been saying it. Sadly, guys, I'm gonna tell y'all something. Y'all might not like it. I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Mitchell is not back next season. However, the Steelers definitely need to draft, and I think they will draft a safety this coming draft. I definitely believe that. But don't be surprised if Mike Mitchell is not still there and then we are grooming the other safety. Maybe you bring him in more when it's a dime situation. You understand what I'm saying? To get him on the field, and maybe he eventually overtakes Mike Mitchell. But think about it. If Mitchell doesn't come back, even though some of us don't like him, I think he's serviceable. He's just not a good cover guy. He does other things decent. as much as people might hate Mike Mitchell, where do we go from here? You're only going to draft a safety. So then who else is on your roster? Think about it. Dangerfield, Robert Golden. I mean, who else? J.J. Wilcox, which is probably not going to be back. So as much as I agree, it's much like the William Gay situation. Remember last year we were all like, get rid of William Gay, which we saw him again take a bad angle on that one pass to Yeldon. I mean, whose responsibility was him and Artie Burns both over there? Somebody's supposed to be responsible for the leaking running back. And William Gay's angle to him was just horrendous. He doesn't have the speed anymore. It's probably time for him to go. But because of depth, they had to bring William Gay back. You see what I'm saying? And they used him in situations where he's not always on the field. I would like to ask, though, why isn't Cam Sutton being put in for those situations? You know, we've noticed when we've seen Sutton, he's been on the outside. But I'm wondering, why not use Sutton as that additional DB instead of William Gay? Again, I'm not the coach. I'm just saying, what's up with that? Okay? But anyway, William Gay is probably gone. Mike Mitchell needs to go. Todd Haley, it's time for you to probably go. Keith Butler, I'm on the fence with this one, guys, and let me tell you why. Is it the scheme or is it personnel? Think about that. To give Keith Butler a little credit, Keith Butler did some things a lot differently this year. Let's be honest, guys. Let's take the emotion out of it for a minute and think about what really happened this year. We played more man coverage. There were times when it was successful. You understand what I'm saying? We did some different blitz variations. You know, our guys, our ends are attacking now, which is the reason why Cam Hayward is able to get those kind of sacks. We're dropping guys like TJ Watt in coverage, trying some different things, which is the reason why our edge rushers are maybe not getting as many sacks as you would like. So I don't know. I say maybe give him another year. However, I'm not opposed for him being gone either. I'm on the fence. But I will say this, if the Steelers bring him back, next year is it. You don't show any significant improvement next year, you got to go. Because he's still cut from that, Dick LeBeau cloth. And that just doesn't always work anymore. I mean, look at what New England did to them. Tennessee. So I'm on the fence about him. Joey Porter. Yeah, is it time for Joey Porter, as the linebacker coach? I mean, it's hard to gauge these things, guys, because they're not as visible. Like, we don't really know what Joey Porter is doing. Much like we don't really know what Cornell Lake is doing. We know what Richard Mann does with the receivers just because we've heard it. He's been, he's so, everybody loves Richard Mann, and you see what he's been able to do with our receivers. But to be fair, guys like that, like our other linebacker coach, Jerry something, I can't remember his last name. But we don't really see what these guys do like we see Butler, Haley, and Tomlin. But I don't know, maybe, great players are not always the best coaches. I don't know if Joey Porter, what he's actually doing. But I think there's room for some change. That's why I'm not opposed, man, to the defensive side of the ball getting a full overhaul. If Butler goes and a couple other guys, I'm not opposed to that because we need some change. This Steelers team is too talented. Think about it. The Steelers look how far they've gone in the last 2 years with really a subpar defense. How crazy is that? 13-3, and let's be honest, the Steelers could have very well been 14-2 because they had a chance to win the Chicago game. Jacksonville beat us handily in week 5. You give them credit for that. That's a real loss. And then the Patriot game. That very well could have went in favor of the Steelers. They could have been 15-1, 14-2 with a subpar defense. Now, let's give the defense a little credit. They play sometimes. But like I said, I just didn't trust them when it was critical time. Don't trust him. And it showed again yesterday. Who else? As far as roster, Arthur Moats, he gotta go. Haven't had a lot of time to think about that. And guys, we're gonna do a lot of this, now that the season is over. We're gonna start getting into position grades and what we need and things like that. So I'm gonna keep that part relatively light, but I will give you just a quick, real quick thoughts. Ovlosky, yeah, appreciate that, Tony. Free safety is a must in the draft. They need inside backers, at least 2. I would predict we'd get 1 in free agency and we draft another one. Maybe a corner, but if they keep Joe Hayden, y'all know how the Steelers do with the 3-year rule. You give Artie another year. I don't think Artie sucks. I don't think Artie is a bum, but I think with the right tutelage, let's say that, maybe with the right coaching, they can keep him more disciplined. If he stop peeking in the backfield, and if he stays disciplined, Artie Burns has done some good things. So I'm not ready to just throw him out, just yet. Let him hit that 3rd year and see what we got. We got Cam Sutton there, and looks like Cam Sutton has something with him, but now I'm sure we'll be able to see more of him next season. So maybe you grab another DB later on. But the areas right away, man, you got to go inside backer. You got to go safety. Must go safety. We're going to have to go outside backer. No James Harrison. Like I said, Arthur Moats is probably up out of there. You see what I'm saying? So we got holes. We started the season very, very thin in those areas anyway, which is the reason why they carried James Harrison as long as they did. Now, I don't like the way it ended with James Harrison because I think, just him being who he was and what he meant to the Steelers, it kind of sucks that it ends like that. I don't care about whether he gets a ring with New England, whatever. Forget all of that. That is kind of whack. But you listen, the man got to get a paycheck. I'm not going to knock him for that. And if he wants to play football, he went where he thought he could play. We cut him. I understand why the Steelers cut him. You needed the roster spot. At this point in the season, maybe you feel like, okay, Watt and Dupree and others are healthy. He's just a casualty. But I just didn't like how that went down because of who he is. But we're already thin in those areas coming into the season. He's gone. We don't know the future of Ryan Shazier. Let's go ahead and just say he's not going to play next season, I'm sure. Which is another interesting question. I don't know how the Steelers handle this one because Ryan Shazier was on his 4th year. That's going to be interesting. Let's keep an eye on that. But anyway, you're going to need at least 2 inside backers, at least another edge outside guy. And must go safety. Okay? Now, depending on what happens with Le'Veon Bell, whether he's tagged or signed, we may look at another running back. We don't know the severity of Connor. We know when him having the ACL, he is injury prone, unfortunately. Guys like Toussaint, do you keep them? You see what I'm saying? It's going to be interesting to see where the Steelers go in the draft, but my must areas, my 4 must-haves, 2 inside backers, whether you draft 2 or free agency gives you 1, a free safety, and an outside backer. After that, we can pick and choose, and we'll know a little more as we get closer. Okay, now, that's probably about all I got, man. We definitely need to sign Mike Hilton back. Mike Hilton played very well. Again, I think Mike Hilton might have been one of the most consistent DBs this season. That might be it, man. That might be all I got as far as how I'm feeling on that. I see somebody just said Bud Dupree. Ugh, man, I hate to say it. Right now, Bud Dupree is just a guy. And again, I know Tomlin and those guys said, some few weeks back, you might not see the edge rushers have as many sacks and things like that as the past because a lot of times they have them in coverage. But from what we're seeing, man, come on, man. I mean, Bud Dupree has been non-existent. We haven't seen it. And again, Dave said this today, and I got to agree with him. Can you recall a time like this season where you felt like Bud Dupree just mauled his guy and got a sack? You can say the same about T.J. Watt, but I'm going to give T.J. Watt a pass. He's a rookie. You know, he's a rookie. He's going to come along. You would expect him to get better. I love the kid's motor. But he's had bigger impact plays this year than Bud Dupree. Did he not? There weren't a whole bunch, but the interception was key when he got that. The 2 sacks in that game. The strip out on Flacco. You know, he's had more impact plays. He even blocked the punt. Or field goal or whatever it was. But a field goal. So I'm like, he's had more impact plays than Bud Dupree. And defending Jordy Nelson in the slot. You see what I'm saying? Bud Dupree has just been a guy. And that's very concerning. But that's all I got, man. And then I'm going to definitely sit here for a while and see what you guys are saying. A whole lot of comments here. I'm sure I won't be able to get through them all. But again, just to recap. Mike Tomlin, no, he should not be fired, guys. Let's settle down on that. You might not always agree with some of his decisions, but come on. That's how it goes, man. You know, it's always a 50-50. If some of the things work, we're not saying anything. You know, because let's be honest at the things that we critique. I didn't like the onside kick at 2 minutes and 18 seconds. But had he converted it, I would have been like, wow, that was gutsy. I would have said these exact words. I wouldn't have did it at that moment, but we got the ball back. That's gutsy. I just didn't like it at that time. I think you had the timeouts in the bank and the 2-minute warning, but that don't mean I want to fire him. You know, whatever you say or do or feel about Mike Tomlin, you cannot discount what he has done since he's been the Steelers coach. It is what it is. I mean, because I know how we are here in Pittsburgh. It's Super Bowl or bust, but come on, man. That's 31 other teams. No team wins the Super Bowl every year. It just, but I get it. You know, we're hungry for another one. We ain't had a Super Bowl since, what year was that? I don't even remember. Was it 08? It was one of them seasons. And then we went back a couple years later in 10, I think, against Green Bay and lost it with Mendenhall's fumble. But we're hungry for one, and I get it. And here's the reason why I think it hurts us the most is because we know we could be in a situation where we only got a couple more chances because we might not get a great quarterback after Ben leaves. You know, we got a maximum of probably 2 years of Roethlisberger left if he finishes his contract. So I think that's the reason why we are all seeing the opportunity with the offensive weapons. We got that window where we're just, and we can't get it done. That's why it hurts so bad, but it is what it is, guys. If we're really fans, we have to understand the team we have. Because I'm going to be honest with you guys. A lot of you guys were trying to tell me I was crazy and saying, nah, man, we got this. I was like, no, we don't. Our defense is not reliable. Sometimes you just got to know what you got. You know what I'm saying? So, again, real quick recap. No, Tomlin shouldn't be fired. I think it's time for Todd Haley to go. Definitely get somebody else in there to, see what we can do, work some magic with those weapons. Keith Butler is on the hot seat, and I'm not opposed with him being gone. Should he stay, he should be on a 1-year trial. Maybe we get some more pieces in there and we start seeing things develop a little bit. But I'm not opposed for him being up out of there. But if they keep him, that should be the 1-year trial. So Haley gone, Butler possibly gone, possibly stays. Maybe Danny Smith needs to go also. Maybe we need something fresh and new from special teams. And outside of that, as far as players, man, we all know the main one is Mike Mitchell, man. I think it's time for Mike Mitchell to go. At the very worst, draft another free safety and start working him in, even if you keep Mitchell. But it's time for him to be gone. Okay? So there's my quick thoughts on that, man. It was a great season, guys. Hey, you can't be mad at it, man. It was a great season. We just came up short. It's probably one of the worst Steelers losses with it being at home. You had a bye. That's a tough one. And then it's a team that had already beat you early in the year. So it's a tough one to swallow, man. But listen, it is what it is, man. Got to move on. All right, so let's take a look and see what some of you guys are saying, man. I know you guys are saying a lot. I see Jacksonville fans in here, and I don't know, man. Welcome, I guess, but you guys cracked me up. So let's see. Let me see if I can go back to the beginning here. Dang, there's so many comments, I can't even go back to the beginning. So I'll just read some of these here. Cody Harris says, nothing but love for Pittsburgh. Bortles just got hot. He had a few games like that in the season. He went on a cold streak till he played us. Bortles just played well. And the thing is, Cody, Bortles did not beat Pittsburgh. He was a game manager. 1 touchdown, 214 yards, 14 for 26, but he did convert 8 for 14 third downs. He managed the game. But it really was the threat of the run and the run working, and the Jacksonville staff for being like, okay, we're gonna get the Steelers off balance. We're going to come out and play action that thing first drive, get them off balance. And then once they start thinking that, we're going to run the football. It was a great plan. And the Steelers couldn't shut down what was a simple game plan. That's the part that's kind of like, wow. Let's see. Larika 18, I hope I'm saying that correctly, says everyone keeps saying Ryan Shazier is gone. That's why we lost. Yo, it's a little bit the reason, but the Jags ran over us in October. Yeah, I said that earlier. And the Bears. That's what I'm saying. Shazier is not the reason we lost. Shazier, I'm sure, would have helped. But that ain't why they lost. Vaughn Harris says, Steelers defense need work. I'm just saying. Well, that's obvious. We all know that. Let's see. A-Train 904, 75 points in 2 games on catch-up field this season. Oh, well, congratulations. Well, and you're here watching this podcast. Tony, my man, says, man, I have never been a Ben fan this year, and he made me change my mind. Ben balled, man. We talked about that already. Ben, bruh, Ben was a warrior out there. He was trying to win the football game, clearly. Somebody said, Mario Harris says, I think we suck after bye weeks. Possibly, man, but that's not an excuse. We can't. I'm not going to keep giving, in my own mind, I'm not going to allow those things to be an excuse for me. Like, we shouldn't suck after a bye week. We shouldn't struggle with subpar teams. Not talking about the Jags, but I'm talking about, in Tomlin's tenure, how for whatever reason, our record isn't that good against teams that are 500 or less. I don't know what that is. Like, those things can't be happening. But again, I don't believe. It's just my belief. Other people can believe what they want. These are just opinions, people. What I'm saying doesn't make me right. What you're saying doesn't make you right. But it's not my belief that Tomlin prepares his team any differently week to week. I just don't believe that. I don't believe it. I don't think no NFL coach does that. Because there's no way you would last as long as you have if you just didn't have good preparation. You understand what I'm saying? There's no way anybody can fake it for that long, if that makes sense. I just don't, I don't subscribe to that. Vincent Singletary says, Ben is the real deal, saved Bacon on many occasions. Yeah, man, Ben played himself well yesterday, very well. Frank V says, Vince Williams and Artie Burns are garbage. It's one's opinion, man. I don't think the guys again, let me at least let you guys know my thought process. I've said several weeks ago, and I've refrained from, I will not call a professional athlete a bum. I just won't. That's just me. I'm not saying that any of you guys are wrong for doing it. Listen, I played football all my life. Thought I was very good at football. In fact, I know I was good at football. I didn't make it to the NFL. So for me to call somebody else a bum, I just can't do it. That's just me personally. Like I said, that's my opinion. You guys can do what y'all want. But I will not call a professional athlete garbage or bum. What I will say is they just not as good in their position as others. Artie Burns may not be as good a corner as others. Vince Williams is not as good a middle linebacker as others. He's not a Luke Kuechly. He's not a Ryan Shazier when he's out there. Vince Williams is a hitter. He doesn't really have a total package. You know what I mean? So that's how I feel about that. That's me personally. I'm just never gonna. I'm not calling professional athletes bums or them garbage because they're better than me on the field. Let's see what else you guys are saying. A-Train 904 continues to say 75 points. Well, you guys won, man. Move on to next week. Let's have the same energy when y'all face the Patriots. So that's all I'm saying. None of it matters at this point unless you win the Super Bowl. Then you can holler at me. Like any team. Yeah, during the season is cool, like your rival. Like it's always cool, to mingle and talk with Ravens fans when they beat us or we beat them. And it's like, how we got you, y'all got us. But when you're in the playoffs, unless your team wins the Super Bowl, it's really nothing to gloat about. Because I'll tell you right now, had we beat the Jags and went to New England and lost, you wouldn't hear me say, but we beat the Jags. Like, so what? Congratulations, Jaguars. I actually would love to see y'all go and beat New England. I would love to see that because I love that defense that you guys have. I don't think there's enough offense to get it done. I don't. You went against a horrible Pittsburgh Steelers defense. I don't believe it goes that way against the Patriots. We'll see. We'll see. Hip Hop says Ben is what Bettis was to him. He needs his young guys like Bell and Brown to win him one. Yeah, I would love it, man. Really would love that. My man Todd L. Chapman, what up, T? He said that fumble did it, but clearly Ben can get it done. Glad he's coming back. Yeah, you know what? Speaking of that fumble, man, I did say, y'all know me. I'm fair. I critique it all the way around. I will say that Ben held the ball a little too long in some of those situations, I thought. But, trying to make something happen. What you going to do? Von Harris says Steelers coaching staff may be time for a change. Oh, yeah. Well, everybody knows that. Let me scroll down, man, because a lot of this stuff we've already addressed, man. It's a lot of comments in here. So I'm going to try to, bounce around here. And, guys, I'm not gonna answer all of them, obviously. I'm going to try to answer people I haven't really, referenced already. So, Debbie J. Ben does have to respect authority. Too passive-aggressive about the coaching. Again, he doesn't have the cachet to run the offense, checking in and out of plays. You know what, Debbie? That's a good point. And shout-outs to you. I don't know if I've seen your name here before, so I appreciate you if this is your first time. If you've been here before, sorry I missed you, but you bring up a great point. One thing I don't like about what Roethlisberger does quite often, he finds a way to kind of, like you said, passive-aggressive. Like he throws a coach under the bus, but then he pulls him back. But, we still remember that you threw up under. He has a very slick way of doing it. I'll never forget, man, a couple of weeks ago, after the Patriots game, I always watch Game Day Prime. Actually, I might watch it tonight. I recorded it Sunday, and I just wasn't in the mood to watch anything afterwards. So I'm going to go back and watch it and see what he had to say. But Deion Sanders says, and this was classic, he says, he likes to go platinum quite often. And LT caught it, and then the host kind of caught it, and he was like, you need me to explain what that means? So basically, for some of you guys that might not know what that means, he's basically saying, Ben gonna shine when he can shine. He calls the coaches out, maybe not necessarily Tomlin. It's not as flagrant with Tomlin stuff, but you clearly see it with him and Todd Haley. And I don't like that. Even if there's a problem, I feel like as a leader, as a face of the organization, you keep that in-house until it's time to talk about it. Let's say Todd Haley leaves, and then they ask you, hey, man, how was you guys' relationship? Then maybe you still don't trash him, but maybe you can say, things didn't always go the way we wanted it to go, et cetera, et cetera. You do it the nice way. Stop throwing people under the bus, man. I don't like that. And, by the way, Debbie, and shout-outs to David Todd, again, on the Terrible Podcast. He mentioned this as well. He said he was at the game. He felt like that Ben may have checked to that toss sweep on the first 4th and 1. if that is the case, that changes a little bit about how I feel about Haley in that situation. But overall, I'm looking at Haley as a career with the Steelers. And even this season where there were times that we questioned the play call. And even when the audio came out where Tomlin was saying to him in the Patriots game, listen, if he's tackled in bounds, have a play ready. And he was like, you got me? Like that audio came out. So a lot of this stuff does seem to fall on Todd Haley with the play calling. A lot of the passiveness with the play calling, stuff like that. So we never know which plays Ben are checking in and out of, but it seems like clearly Ben tells us that he's not checking out a lot of these plays. That's always questioned. So I don't know, but that's a good comment, Debbie. I appreciate that. Let me scroll down a little further here. Captain Spartan, what's good with you? He says, hopefully we can trade Mike Mitchell for exchange of a high pick. Don't expect that to happen. I mean, who wants him? You know what I mean? Not for a high pick, but, let's see what else we got here. Yeah, I see somebody said there were some non-calls. There were a lot of non-calls in that game, but, again, that's not why we lost, man. The loss is definitely on the Steelers' defense. My man Kenyon Wright, what's good with you, brother? He says the Steelers will pick the best player available with the first pick. Yeah, they do that all the time. We don't draft for the need. Yeah, absolutely right. I think if the best player is there, they're going to pick him if he's on their board. Ryan Shazier. Tomlin even said that they didn't think he was going to be there at that time, and they picked him. But you're right. I think they go for the best player. They go for need when that person is there. Like, obviously the last couple years, like they knew they needed a cornerback. They scooped a cornerback. Last year, they knew they needed a pass rusher. They got a pass rusher. But like you said, had a certain guy been there, it might not have been a pass rusher in the first round. Because there were a couple guys that slid to the second round that they probably could have copped. So you're absolutely right about that. Devontae Williams says, and when Smoot threw Ben down after the play. Oh, yeah, I almost forgot about that. No call. I mean, that was a clear late hit, and they didn't call it. But it's funny because the commentators did say, man, that crew doesn't call a lot of flags, and they said that it would benefit the defense. They said that before the games. I thought that was very interesting. Let's see what else here. Find somebody else. I feel the need for speed. He says Jalen Ramsey was saying they played well. And he says, bruh, you got over 40 points hung on you. That's another thing, man, that I wanted. Listen, I don't think when the Steelers offense is clicking, there's not a defense that stops them. That's what's kind of getting lost in this whole thing. And that's why I wanted to keep emphasizing. Y'all know I'm not really on Twitter as much anymore because Twitter I can't deal with all of that. I'm on there every now and then, in and out. But that's what I was kind of trying to say to people last night when I was on there for a brief moment. The loss is clearly on the defense. We put 42 points on them. 42. That's all offense. We didn't have any defensive turnovers or any defensive scores. We put 42 points on the Jags defense. That's impressive. And like you're saying, if I ain't gonna knock Ramsey because I'm a nose fan, so I love Jalen Ramsey. But, bruh, I need you to relax. You gotta relax, bruh. Don't be saying y'all played well. Y'all did not play well, bruh. Stop it. They had their moments, but they did not play well. Let's see what else is going on here. Verducci, man, what's good with you, man? And thank you again last week, man, for the donation. I really appreciate that. Got to shout you out again. He says, I kind of fear it will get worse before it gets better with Mitchell replaced. You might have a good point there. And that's the thing, guys. I know it's tough for us Steelers fans because we're so passionate. I always tell people all the time, being a Steelers fan is just not the fact that I like football. You know, being it's like a culture. It really is like a culture. You know, I don't know what it's like to be another fan of another football team, but I really feel the connection with Steelers fans, and, you know, Steelers Unite. And if you guys are not a part of Steelers Unite, what are you doing? You know, real fans are a part of that. You know, and interacting and going to Steelers bars. And when I go to Steelers games at Heinz Field, it's a connection, and it hits you it's so deeply rooted. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it's more than just football. Like, I really feel like I am a part of the Pittsburgh Steelers and will forever be. You know, good, bad, or indifferent. Whether we're great, whether we're down to the floor, I'm going to always ride with the Steelers. And I'm talking to some of you fans, man. Stop being so emotional, people. Like, I seen people telling me yesterday, man, I'm done supporting. Come on, man. Come on. You talking to a guy, just to switch the subject real quick, you talking to a guy who's a 76er fan. I've been through the bottom. But I'm still with them. That's my squad. Forever. And that's how I feel about the Steelers. Whether we get that 7th Lombardi or not, I will be a Steeler fan till the day I'm no longer here. It just is what it is. Let's see what else, man. But Vernucci, you got a good point, brother. Because what I was about to say, and sorry guys, I keep getting sidetracked. We have to realize that you don't know what you got until you get these players. You know, because me and my father-in-law, Leonard, we talk about this all the time. And, you know, he's very passionate. He's, you know, he always says this. I pick with him. I just be teasing him, but he always refers to New England. He always says, Belichick, he goes and get what he needs. He goes and gets this. He needs this. He gets that. And I'm like, we do that also. Have we not been addressing needs the last 3 years? Think about it. But you don't know what you got. We didn't know Sinquez Golson wasn't going to play. We didn't know that Jarvis Jones wasn't going to be effective. This dude was led the NCAA in sacks that season. You don't know until you have the players. And like he always tells me, and I hear other fans telling me this, man, we need another guy like Troy Polamalu. Them dudes don't come. You can't just go down the street and pick one of them up. Troy Polamalu is special for a reason. Ed Reed was special for a reason. Oh my God, I would love to have an Ed Reed type guy. They're special for a reason. Sean Taylor was a freak of nature, God bless the dead, for a reason. I love, like right now we talk about safeties. You know, there's a couple guys that I like. I know I'm not going to name them all, but I love Harrison Smith. I've always liked how he played. Love the way he plays. Love Eric Berry. You know, if we had an Eric Berry type of guy, or Earl Thomas. And Earl Thomas ain't even the biggest guy in the world, but he's so rangy and he's smart. If we had a Earl Thomas, just think about that. How many times Earl Thomas have saved the Seattle Seahawks in as far as the secondary and things over the top. And he's been beat as well. There's no defensive player that's going to have 0 beat rate. But we just need consistency. We don't have that with Mike Mitchell as far as coverage. We didn't have that with Ryan Clark as far as coverage. So we got to go after that guy. We have to go after the rangy center fielder type of guy. We need that. Let me throw something at you guys, man, because I know Tony and I have talked about this, and again, it's funny when I listen to guys like Dave, and they say the same things that me and Tony be saying. And that's why I reference them a lot, because, you know, I respect them. I want you guys to go listen to the Terrible Podcast as well if you haven't already. They come on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Great insight. These guys know football. They're diehard Steelers. You know, David Todd used to work at ESPN before ESPN went through their layoffs. He was on 970. So these guys know what they're doing. They've been doing Terrible Podcasts for years. But they also said, David Bryant said, and that's David Bryant, by the way, is the one who writes and the owner of SteelersDepot.com. He said, what about maybe trying a guy like Brian Allen at free safety? Hey, man, I'm not opposed to that at all. Me and Tony talked about that. I'm not opposed to that. Maybe because they said, remember they said he's not that good as far as his technique, and at corner he's good at just running. He's good at running and bumping and and running and press because he's 6'3", over 200 pounds. The guy was a receiver. He might naturally be a ball hawk. Now I'm sure you would have to get the rawness off out of him, but maybe because he didn't see any snaps at cornerback this year. All he did was play special teams. Maybe they got him around for a reason. Maybe they might do something like that. I would love to see that. Because I think he played a little bit of safety at Utah. But I'm just saying. But the philosophy for our free safety needs to be different. Because listen, Mike Mitchell is what Mike Mitchell is. He was that in Carolina when we got him. And Ryan Clark, again, was a hitter. He wasn't a cover guy, per se. He is decent, but remember we used to complain about him. So we need to change that philosophy, and we need a sideline-to-sideline, ball hawk, center fielder type of guy. Like I said, Eric Berry, a guy like, again, Earl Thomas, and like I said, a Harrison Smith. Harrison Smith does a lot of that well. He's a hitter. He comes up in the box, and he can cover pretty well. Need guys like that. So let's continue, shall we? Let's move on. Justin W. said he thinks Sean Davis would make a pretty good free safety and just need to find a new strong safety. That could be a possibility as well because Sean Davis might be a little more rangy. Maybe he's out of position a lot of times when he's playing, from the strong safety spot. I don't know. But, to me, all of these things should be some type of possibilities. You know what I mean? Let me grab someone else. Someone else who hasn't commented. Well, I haven't read your comment. PDG90. I agree exactly with what you're saying. They said that, safety would be good, but they don't think that Ryan Shazier will ever play again. We definitely need a backup. Yeah, man, let's face the facts, man. This kid is fighting to walk. Just a week or so ago, they're saying he's getting feeling in his legs, which I'm not a doctor, but I would imagine that's part of the process. When you get spinal stabilization surgery, I'm imagining there's going to be a period where you're not mobile or you have to regain what you had before you had the injury. So it seems like the progression is happening. But two things you have to consider. Number one, is it going to be recommended for him to play football again? And number two, will he have the desire to play again after that type of injury? I'm going to lean on that. I don't know. So him being able to come back, we got to plan as if he's never going to play again. I just want him to walk and be able to walk down the aisle with his, lovely fiance. They make a nice couple. Like I said, man, he has a beautiful fiance, a young child. He's 25 years old. I just want the guy to be able to live a normal life. Thank you for what you've done for us. I'm definitely going to cop a jersey. And football is secondary, man. If you play, you play. If you don't, listen. You ain't going to hear me complaining about that. Let me see what's going on. Who else is out here? Trying to find some of you guys who haven't commented. Antonio Wilson, what's up with you, man? Antonio's a guy who comes around a lot. Appreciate you coming through. He says, not a Steelers fan, but in my opinion, Mike Tomlin should be fired. Just my opinion. I want you to explain that, Antonio. That's your opinion. So I'm not challenging it. I just want to hear your reasons as to why he should be fired. I guarantee you this, for you guys who think that. Let Mike Tomlin get fired. I guarantee you it's less than a week he has a job. That just goes to show you the type of coach he is. Less than a week. He's a head coach somewhere. Easily. So I just want to hear people's opinions as to why he should be fired. Not challenging it. I just legitimately want to know, your thoughts. What is it that make you feel like he should be fired? And who's your team, by the way, Antonio? Jesse Amada says Butler needs to go back with LeBeau. Perhaps. Jackson Gonzalez says Mike Hilton even did decent in coverage against Grunk in Week 15. Mike Hilton is the guy, man. I really like that guy. And again, who would have thought that he would be the guy from Ole Miss that would stick and do significant things for the Steelers defense? That's crazy. Someone says all non-Steeler fans get out of here. Look, man, I welcome everybody. I just don't understand. Again, if you are in this podcast or this live stream just to, I don't understand it. I mean, if that's what gets your rocks off, hey, get your rocks off. But I just don't get it. I welcome everybody. But if you in here trying to challenge this and challenge that, and you ain't even like, I don't know. I don't know why this is interesting to you. I guess is what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You're welcome to be here, but I don't know why it's interesting to you if you have no affiliation or any fondness of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Come on. Just trying to find some more guys who I haven't read yet. 21 Barriero. Hope I said that correctly. He says, New England always torches our defense. I like what Keith Butler is doing. Mike Mitchell has to stay in order to groom the next safety. Tomlin has to stay. You know what, man? This is what I kind of said earlier. You know, Mitchell is probably going to still be there. But I feel good if we draft a safety. That lets me know where we lie, you know, as far as confidence. Because I would have to imagine, again, I am not the coaches, but I would only have to imagine that they know as well where they're weak. So to see them go after that makes me feel better. Just like this last draft. They went and addressed the areas that we know we needed assistance. They went and got that pass rusher. The year before that, when we know the Steelers are not known for taking a corner in the first round, they made sure they drafted a corner in the first round. They may have even reached a little bit to get a corner because some people said maybe Artie Burns is a number 2. But I like that, and they've been consistent with that. So I want to see them at least draft a safety, but would not be surprised, like you said, if Mitchell is still there. Of course, Tomlin needs to still be there. And like I said, I'm on the fence with Butler. I hold him responsible for some of the mishaps, but I also hold players responsible for executing. So if he stays, he's on a 1-year trial. Let's see how he does, you know, with more talent. What are y'all talking about? Do gameplay. What are y'all talking about? It's not that type of stream. I'm sorry, man. Look for that tomorrow night. A-Train, you listen, man. You on your way to a timeout. Nobody, listen. Let me be very frank real quick. Nobody's bitter. My Steelers lost. It is what it is. I'm upset that they lost. But listen, life goes on. But who cares? Like you in here giving us all these stats. So what? So what? So what that they beat the Steelers for umpteen times or what? Who cares? Win the Super Bowl. You know, do something of significance. None of that matters if y'all haven't reached the pinnacle. It's the same way like with the Ravens the last few years. Everyone was, oh, they're owning the Steelers now. I'm like, yeah, but there was a time where the Steelers was beating them. And now it's flip-flopped again for this past year. So it's like, again, I am of the mindset that none of that is relevant at this stage unless you win that Super Bowl. Then y'all can say the Jags were that team this year. And I'll give you all the credit. Like I said, I'm in favor of the Jags going into New England and winning. But it's got to be done. If y'all lose, none of this stuff that you're saying matters. Whether, you know, the Jags are 5-0 versus the AFC North, so what? There are 2 teams in the AFC North that have Super Bowl titles. So all of that is irrelevant. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So y'all better finish the job because, hey, I don't forget. I'm going to come look. I'm going to see how you talking if y'all lose Saturday or lose the Super Bowl. I'm just saying. You know, says you do a lot of chirping. Let's see what else, guys. Anybody else in here that I haven't read your comment yet? Deron Smith. What up, Deron? He says, what do you think about them going after Eli Apple? Nah, I'm good. Listen, I don't think Eli Apple is horrible or anything like that, but I mean, let me be fair before I say what I just said as far as being like, no way. Sometimes it all depends on the scheme. I mean, look, Mike Mitchell had a great season with the Panthers that year. Eli Apple could be a product of the scheme. I don't think he's bad, but I haven't seen anything from him that make me feel like go get Eli Apple. Now, if we can get him in here and he does some work, cool. I'm not opposed to them trying anybody, but the name Eli Apple, just seeing how he's performed with the Giants, it doesn't make me feel like, I would want him. Just much like if you the Giants, maybe you're just being nice. If I'm a Giants fan, there's no way that I was excited about the trade to acquire Ross Cockrell from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because if you had been seeing how Cockrell had played with the Pittsburgh Steelers during his 2 seasons, you see what I'm saying? That's kind of how I feel about Eli Apple. I don't think he's garbage or anything like that. Just don't know if I don't know who he replaces, if that makes sense. Let's see. What else? Adam Worthy. He says, I wish Bud Dupree and Hargrave showed me more. They didn't live up to expectations this year. Well, I won't necessarily say that about Hargrave. Hargrave does a lot of dirty work, man. Hargrave is very similar to, it's a lot of Steelers fans that tell me that Casey Hampton wasn't that good because he didn't have the numbers. But Casey Hampton was the reason why a lot of those guys could roam, and your Aaron Smiths and your Brett Kiesels and Larry Foots of the world and Ferrier, Potsy of the world. Those guys was able to eat because Big Hamp was in the middle taking double teams. So a lot of times the nose tackle doesn't get as much of the visual aspect. And I think Hargrave is very talented. Now, Hargrave has been quiet in the last couple games. But no, I wouldn't go as far as saying my expectations for Hargrave went down because of his position. Now, Bud Dupree, on the other hand, Bud ain't show up, man. Bud didn't show up. Low-key Savage says Cornell Lake got to go. I'm not opposed to anybody on the defensive staff, man, having to go. Patrick Covington Jr. said, what about nose tackle? Yeah, I think maybe you grab another nose tackle because we also know who else ain't going to get re-signed. Big Dan McCullough's got to go too. He just he didn't live up to expectation. I mean, what is he, 6'7"? When we signed him, he was 6'7", 350. That big boy hasn't lived up to his expectations, so he got to go. Get him up out the paint. So, yeah, maybe you grab another nose tackle. I mean, it's proven, even with Hargrave, maybe you find a guy later or a free agent. Because I will say that. Now, the free agents that we have brought in the last couple years, well, let's just say this year, because some of the other guys last year, But Joe Hayden has been serviceable when he's been on the field. He made a play or two yesterday. Also, Tyson Alulu. I like that signing. Tyson Alulu has done some things for us as well. And again, as far as yesterday, man, there was nobody that jumped off the screen that showed up. Nobody. We lost the trench battle. Like I said, the only plays that I can remember was Artie Burns and Joe Hayden. Artie Burns had 3 pass breakups. Joe Hayden had a breakup. And Joe Hayden had a couple tackles at the line of scrimmage. Other than that, I don't recall anything else popping off the screen. It's just crazy. Toussaint gone. Yeah, I agree with that. I think I'm getting down to the end of this list here. Here's another new name, Justin W. He says, I really don't know what we're going to do. We have a very limited cap room this upcoming season. Yeah, you're right about that, man. And we don't know what's going to happen with Bell. As much as I hate to say this, Tony and I speak about this all the time. If Shazier is not going to be in the picture, I mean, that's that money that I'm sure you had in mind to sign him. So there's a little bit of room in there somewhere. Roland Young says we need to draft a playmaking safety like we had with Troy. I fully agree. Here's another thing. Roland Young, that I discuss with my father-in-law all the time. He always says that we need a Troy Polamalu, and I agree. But let's not forget, Polamalu was a strong safety. So unless this guy is gonna be like Troy, where he literally would tell Ryan Clark, "You play up, I play back," a special guy like that, we still got to draft for that position. We still need a free safety because Sean Davis, at this point, is not gonna be, he's not gonna be replaced unless they swap him. So I agree with you. We need a playmaker, but it would definitely have to be at free safety. Minka Fitzpatrick is a must. Possibly. Right now, man, I'm so focused on inside backer. I'm liking that kid out of Georgia, Smith. I can't remember his first name. I'm liking that kid. Is there anybody else? What up, Real Facts? He said exactly my thoughts on Bud Dupree. Yeah. Yeah, Robert Golden got to go. Absolutely. I agree with that. Let me see. Is there anybody else I missed? And then I'll stay on here for a little bit longer, guys, and then we'll be out here. It's been an hour and 30 minutes already. Clearly the longest Terrible Towel Tuesday I've ever done. Mariano Pampa. What's up? How you doing, man? Welcome back. Promise. Mike Tomlin gets let go. At least 25 teams would try to pick him up. Man, I'm telling you, to me that should be cleared for anybody to see. People only say, let's be real. People only say fire Mike Tomlin or fire other coaches who are successful when it's a decision that they make that you don't like. Let's be honest. The only thing that you can talk about Mike Tomlin wise, as far as numbers not lying, is if you would say, look, why is his record against subpar teams so low? I don't know. That's something that could be critical. You can critique that. But outside of that, again, like I said, there have been games where we didn't necessarily agree with a decision. But there's been just as many games where he did something and it worked and we was like, wow, gutsy. You see what I'm saying? We've all seen those moments when he hits the boom, when he does that. Because he, you know what I'm saying? He called something and it worked. We've all seen that and we all have said that was gutsy. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you really analyze him as a head coach, there's not a lot of holes you can poke in that, in my opinion. Coaching-wise, I don't see it. Now, like I said, the only thing that you definitely look at is why do they lose to these subpar teams? But even with that, we lose to the Chicago Bears, and we still finished 13-3. So how can you be that mad? And technically, we know rules and all that came into play, but you could say that they pretty much beat New England. Didn't turn out that way, but you see what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, so they lost to Chicago, but so what? That's one of those things that you question. And it has been a couple seasons where those losses has kept us from making the playoffs. Those kind of things you can be critical of. But outside of that, I don't really see a lot more that I can say he got to go. He wins. Yes, we need to fix the defense. His hands is on that as the head coach. Yes, we got to draft more players. All of these things are on Mike Tomlin because he's the head guy. But guys, we haven't seen any adverse effect from him as far as just total negativity. Well, look at what we're talking about here. We're upset when we don't win the Super Bowl. You feel me? When you can say that about your coach, that's a good coach. We expect to win the Super Bowl every year. Did Browns fans expect to win the Super Bowl with Hugh Jackson? And I'm not saying that man can coach or not. Do the Cincinnati Bengals, have they expected the last 4 years to win the Super Bowl? Did the New York Giants expect to win the Super Bowl with McAdoo? You understand what I'm saying? But when you have teams like Packer fans can expect to win the Super Bowl with Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers. Seattle fans can expect to win a Super Bowl with Pete Carroll. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have these coaches. Tomlin is in that category, whether y'all want to believe that or not. He is. That's the only time that we're pissed is when we don't win a Super Bowl. Like, again, I know this doesn't make it better, but when you look at it from top to bottom, the Pittsburgh Steelers were the 2nd seed in the AFC this year. That makes it sting a lot worse seeing that they lost this playoff game, but I'm just saying, I just can't hear fire when a team is doing that well. I just can't. That just don't register for me. I could take my love for wanting to win a Super Bowl outside of it and look at it from the outside like, well, they always in the conversation. You know, that's just how I feel. That's just me personally. That's just me. Let's see. What else? Still, Gunplay says Tomlin needs to keep the team in check. Yeah, we got to definitely do a better job, man, with some of the players, you know, just staying a little more disciplined on and off the field. I agree with that. You know, some of that stuff that you have to, you know, you got to put on the players too, but he's the top guy, so I agree with a lot of what you're saying there. Yeah, Raheem Shabazz said 2008 was the last time we won it. Yep. Yeah. JJ Walker, he says, yes, at the same time, we have to blame Tomlin as Steelers fans. We are always blaming somebody else. At some point, we have to. Okay, listen, because I believe you was tweeting me last night. My serious question to you, and I'm being serious here. Do we fire Coach Tomlin? And if we do, who do we replace him with? That's all I'm saying. Some of y'all act like we're not blaming him. I always say, I ain't really like that. I didn't like that. And he is responsible for the team. But I just can't get on the train with y'all, those of you that are saying this, when y'all saying fire him. I can't do that. I'm sorry. Who is the replacement? Please tell me who in the coaching pool, whether college or former NFL, who's out there that's going to come in. And I said this last night on Twitter. I said, when y'all can find me a guy that's going to come in and outdo Tomlin's performance since he's been there and guarantee that we win the Super Bowl the following season, I'm cool with that guy. But nobody has been able to give me the option. Nobody has told me who the next coach could be. Now, I know that might be an unfair question, but that's what I'm saying. If you got to look at it from an organization standpoint, stop being a fan for a minute. Why would the Rooneys, think about this. Why would Art Rooney II, who was the president, why would he fire Tomlin? That's all I'm saying. I'm looking at it from outside of just being a fan. Why would he fire Tomlin at this point, looking at the man's career? So that saying all of that is really just talk. It ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. So I don't know, man. But hey, that, like I said, it doesn't make me right. It doesn't make you right. It's just our opinions. But I just try to look at things from a more realistic standpoint. That's all. Exactly, Kenyon. I mean, there's no replacement. And look, and I know Frankie is playing. He says, Bill Cowher. and that's the thing, man. Again, I am fair across the board. I am fair across the board. And let me say this, because y'all know I keep it 100%. I gotta address the elephant in the room, because I have been accused of this. So I have to say this before I get out of here. I do not support Mike Tomlin just because he is an African-American coach. No, I don't. Am I happy to see an African-American coach in the NFL? Why not? Absolutely. I like equal opportunity for everybody. Same reason why I like seeing Ron Rivera being the coach at the Carolina Panthers. Same reason why I like the guy Khan being the owner for the Jaguars. I like equal opportunity. I like diversity. But I'm going to tell you right now, if Mike Tomlin was Hugh Jackson and he had these last two seasons have gone the way they've gone, I would be the first one saying, get Mike Tomlin up out of the paint. He has got to go. African American or not. So for you guys who have blamed me and basically tried to say I'm playing that card, y'all need to stop, man. Y'all need to stop. It ain't got nothing to do with that. Because I judge players and coaches based on who they are, not because of what they are. Shout outs to Mariano Papa, man. I appreciate you, man. Really, blessings. Thank you for that. Guys, y'all don't understand, man. How, when you guys donate, man, that y'all just don't even understand what that does, man. It's love. Really appreciate that. But yeah, that's real talk, man. I'm not just because the man is African American. I love the Steelers. And I love Bill Cowher. The Jaw, as I call him. I loved Cowher. You know, I just loved his attitude. And it's the same thing about Tomlin. I like Tomlin's attitude when he came in there. I like the fact that he's a younger coach and he got a little coolness to him. You know, if y'all know what I'm saying. I love the fact that he's a player's. I love that. He's a player's coach. Love it. And I think he does know X's and O's. However, like I said, I'm not opposed of having somebody else on the staff that helps with some of those other responsibilities. I'm not opposed to that. But to say that the dude is not a good coach, man, I can't go along with that. Can't go along with that. All right, so I think that's all I got, man. Let's see. Oh, wait. Time out. Somebody said Pagano. Debbie says, unless Bill Belichick is going to be available, stop with the fire Tomlin nonsense. Upgrades only. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I just don't know, man. But, hey, you know, some people have personal problems with the man, and it is what it is. Thunder Nation said he's the coach of the best franchise in the NFL. No offense to others. That's why he's awesome. Eric Williams, what's up to you, man? Appreciate that. Yeah, man. Oh, man. Y'all are killing me tonight with the donations, man. Cody Harris, shout outs to you. Wow, man. You guys, y'all are the truth, man. I love you guys to death, man. Y'all just don't know. Absolutely, man. But yeah, that's what it's about. You know, like I said, I had to address that because I've been, you know, people criticize me on that. People have literally told me that you only like him because he's a black coach. And I'm like, wow, okay. And if you coming from that angle, there ain't nothing for us to talk about. Because listen, while everybody hates the Patriots, I love Bill Belichick as a coach. Oh, man, y'all got to stop. Debbie, blessings. Thank you. Y'all got to stop with this tonight, man. Y'all are killing me, man. Y'all special. You know what? I'm gonna have to find a way, man, to do something special for people who donate, because you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. You know, you guys are doing that out of your own kindness. So going forward, I'm going to have to find something to be able to do. I need to give you guys more recognition than just a little tag here in the chat. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Cody. Thank you, Mariano. Thank you, Verducci, man, for last week. You guys are the best. But yeah, I think that's all I got, man. I've talked to you guys for, almost 2 hours now. Let me see if there's anything else. I think that's all I got, man. So, again, what I'm going to start doing, it's up to you guys, man. You guys will determine. Oh, wait. Time up. Jesse Amada, I saw that earlier today as well. Somebody else asked, they said, what about Bruce Arians? Listen, I don't dislike Bruce Arians. I love Bruce Arians with his little Kangos, cool cat. But here's the funny thing. Us fans know this. Do y'all remember when we were ready to run Bruce Arians out of the town? My father-in-law actually said that today. He said, hey, what about Bruce Arians? Do you remember Steelers fans when we were ready to run this guy out of town? I mean, we couldn't stand him being conservative and running the ball all the time. You remember that? And now, people are saying, oh, bring him back. Oh, man, I'm telling you, it's only because you're upset with what's happening right now instead of looking at it from the final, the full spectrum. Oh, somebody asked, how do you donate? You just got to click on the little money sign there, man, in the chat in order to do that. What else, guys, man? I think I'm about to sign off here. It's 12:47 a.m. Eastern time. I started at 11. So I've been here rocking with you guys a long time. Debbie said this was great therapy. Yeah, man, sometimes you just need to talk it out, to get the hurt off. And I'm glad I'm able to do that for some of you guys because, trust me, I am sick when we lose. Like, I ain't want to hear nothing yesterday. I didn't want to watch any recaps. I was just like, how do we lose that game? That was the redemption game. That's the second round of the playoffs. I'm like, come on. I was looking forward to the rematch. The offense went out there and performed crazy. Ben was a warrior yesterday, and I'm like, how do you lose that game? It hurt. But, man, you got to move on, man. You just got to move on. And, yeah. You just got to move on. We talking about next season. Now, wait a minute. I can't go yet. Somebody did say C.J. Mosley will be in free agency. Wow. Wow. Because, him and Ryan Shazier has always been that conversation. Who was better, et cetera, because the Steelers could have took Mosley. I'm going to tell you like this, man. Wouldn't that be quite a story? Of course, I would love for Ryan Shazier to play football again, but I'm not worrying about that. I'll just worry about his health. Wouldn't that be an amazing story, man, if the Steelers essentially replace the loss of Ryan Shazier with C.J. Mosley? Wow. I take that in a heartbeat. Cody says, my sister is a Pats fan and sent me a meme. It said, why do they call it? Oh, I saw that yesterday because Steelers always playing catch-up. Why they call it Heinz Field because Steelers always playing catch-up. I saw that. Somebody, actually, one of the guys in here, y'all give him hell too. Vaughn Harris Jr. He posted that on my Facebook, and I very quickly deleted it. Like, man, y'all need to stop. But anyway, my boy Tony, man, Tony, go to bed, man. Both of us need to go to sleep. I mean, I'm fortunate to be able to just wake up and come downstairs tomorrow and work, but I know you got to be up early to do your thing. So we'll talk, man. Maybe we'll either talk tomorrow or the next day, or maybe I'll hit you up Friday when I'm down in D.C. You know how we do there. So there it is, guys. I'm out of here. It's late. Enjoyed you guys. Man. We'll be all right. Oh, last thing I wanted to say. Y'all let me know whether here or come back and write it in the comments because, I'm not always able to see the chat comments once the chat, once the stream archives. So if y'all could do me a favor, once it archives, maybe wait a few hours or maybe just come back tomorrow or the next day. Let me know if y'all want me to continue doing this during the offseason. My plan is to come every week, and we just talk Steelers. We find some. I'm sure it's plenty of stuff to talk about. We can talk about prospects and, like I said, kind of mimic some of the things that they do over at Steelers.com and grading positions. Just give us a forum where we could talk. So if y'all want me to continue doing it, I want to. I plan to throughout the entire offseason and just have this thing rotational year by year. But if it slows down, if it gets to the point where nobody is really participating, then these things take time. So y'all let me know if y'all want me to continue on with that. Outside of that, guys, I'm out of here. Enjoyed you guys. Let's wipe our tears, man, and hey, let's sit back and watch some championship football. And let's see what these Jaguars can do against the Patriots. I was very confident in their defense until we put up them 42 points. I don't know if Blake Bortles gets it done against them, but we'll see. And then as far as the NFC, wasn't that crazy yesterday? What y'all talking about Mike Mitchell? Boy, if that would have been Mike Mitchell that would have missed that tackle on Diggs to end the game, boy, y'all would have his head right now. I felt so bad for that kid, because I think that guy's a rookie. Leaning in with the shoulder. All he had to do was tackle the man, grab his legs, and the game is over. He leans in with the shoulder. Diggs gets out of the way, keeps himself up with one hand, and scores the walk-off touchdown for the Vikings. That broke my heart, and I'm not even a Saints fan. But wow, imagine had that been Mike Mitchell or Sean Davis or Artie Burns. Boy, y'all would have been on fire in this chat tonight. So, but all right, man. I'm out of here, man. I'll holler at y'all, man. Y'all be good. Hey, now Steelers are out of it, but hey, man, we'll be okay. Let's look forward to next season. Ben is coming back, so we'll see. So, all right, man. Y'all have a good night. Y'all take it easy. Check y'all later. See y'all next week. Peace.